welcome back to Coffee with Candee, and I'm Candee, and I've got my coffee right here, of course, and this is just one of those chats that we have on a weekly basis, talking about life in general. Last week I told you about just an overall introduction to who I am, and I let you in on the fact that I have multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer, and I wanted to go over what multiple myeloma is, and go over my story. About, oh gosh, it was January 2016 that I developed a pain in my hip. And I did not realize that that pain in my hip would turn out to be this huge, life-transforming thing and that would affect me and my family. And it ended up to be a fracture. They called it at the time an idiopathic fracture because there was no known cause at that time. I didn't fall, and I didn't have a motor vehicle accident, and at that time they didn't know that I had multiple myeloma, nor did I know that I had multiple myeloma. I was working as a nurse on the floor of a hospital, just doing what I normally do, running and charting, and helping people as much as I can. And so then I had this pain in my hip, and I just kept running and charting, and kept working and trying to just get through it as maybe it's like just a pain, or maybe I sat on it wrong, or slept on it wrong, or I just got, I don't know, whatever the case may be, that it would go away. But it didn't. It continued. In April, I got an MRI of it, and it turns out to be a fracture. Went to an orthopedic surgeon, and they told me to go ahead on crutches, and that way it'll, normally people, once they take the weight off of it, the bone will repair. But in my instance, I didn't know that I had something that would not allow that. So then in July 2016, the surgeon placed the 3 pins, and then I was still on crutches, and for some reason I still could not get off of crutches. I couldn't get strong enough for it. So they had me go to physical therapy. The physical therapist, it was so painful, and it got more and more painful as the time went by. And you'll find that out whenever I go over this this overview of what multiple myeloma is. It'll make sense on why this stuff didn't happen. I just kept getting worse. It wasn't getting better. I went to a pain doctor who gave me an injection in my epidural area in my spine. This was after I had gotten multiple MRIs done from the tail end of me all the way up to my skull and brain. So I had gotten all of it with big chunks of time in between those said MRIs. Still no information as to what were on those MRIs until the end. I was told that I had a couple of fractures in my lower spine, that I had and that I had a herniated disc at that time. That's what I was told. And that was at the end of 2016. Early 2017, I got the epidural of the steroid injection, and then I kept going to physical therapy. Then physical therapy was stopped. Then my pain doctor had changed. I still had the primary doctor telling me that I had a UTI every single time I did a urine test, because she saw protein in my urine and glucose in my urine. She sent me to see if I had diabetes. I'd never had diabetes. My potassium level kept going down. She would give me a 30-day supply of some potassium and think that, oh, my potassium would go back up, but it didn't. Or it'd go back up for a short amount of time, but it didn't stay up. It kept going right back down. And I would have frequent upper respiratory infections due to all this stuff we didn't know. I lost 6 inches in height during this time. I lost a bunch of weight. My husband had said that he wanted to leave me because he thought that I was doing this on purpose, that I didn't want to get better on purpose, and that I didn't want to go to work, which is the opposite of who I am at the very core. I love helping people. Again, I was a nurse, rip-roaring and charting, running and charting, and that's what I did, and I loved my job. And this happened, and it has taken away my ability to do what I love so much. Anyways, he wanted to leave me because he felt that I wasn't getting better. Because again, he didn't know. No one knew that I had multiple myeloma. I didn't know that I had multiple myeloma. It came to a point where I thought that I was crazy. I literally thought that I was crazy, and I was ready to let go and just commit suicide at that time, because I felt that that was my only option to have my family feel better and not have to be so burdened by me. I was having bladder control issues. I was sleeping on the couch on a recliner, and my son, my poor sons, my oldest is 17 now, but he was 15 when he was going to get me clothes, 15 going to 16, going to get me new pants because I had an accident again, or he would see me on the bathroom floor because I couldn't stand up because my back was twinged so much and I felt so much pain I couldn't get up. It was so many different things that I wish my kids would never have seen. I had my 3-year-old, he's 5 now, but he was 3 at the time, going in and getting me some pants because my 15-year-old at that time and the other 2 were gone. Like, I had my little ones getting me stuff because I could not physically get it myself. I don't know, it was heartbreaking, and I'm going to give you an overview of this, so some of this will make a little more sense on why this affected me the way it did, and that why the doctors didn't catch this on me. So I got this information from kucancercenter.org, and you can get this information from a lot of different sites, but this is the one that I'm taking from the word for word off of. So multiple myeloma is a blood cancer that affects plasma cells, a type of white blood cell in the bone marrow that makes antibodies and promotes bone repair. It can form in multiple locations within the body, and it's the most common form of myeloma. It is the 3rd most common blood cancer after lymphoma and leukemia. A developing plasma cell becomes malignant, as in multiple myeloma. As the number of malignant plasma cells increases, normal blood cell production is disrupted. This destroys normal bone tissue and causes pain. This process often includes the production of a paraprotein, which can cause kidney problems and weaken your immune system. The kidney problems that I had was Fanconi syndrome, and that's I was diagnosed a week before I was officially diagnosed with multiple myeloma. And Fanconi syndrome is a rare disorder of the proximal renal tubule of the kidney, or kidney function, that results in excess amounts of glucose, bicarbonate, phosphates or phosphorus salts, uric acid, potassium, and certain amino acids, which are proteins, being excreted in the urine. And that was the part on why I was having so many issues with my kidneys, so many issues with the protein, or the protein loss and being found in there, so many issues with the glucose being found in my urine, and the doctor telling me that I might possibly have diabetes, and also the potassium being so much lower. So it affects more than 90% of people with myeloma. Although the exact cause of multiple myeloma is unknown, we do know certain risk factors, such as people 50 and older are more likely to develop multiple myeloma than those under 40. I was 37 when I was diagnosed, under 40. More men develop multiple myeloma than women. I'm a female. I'm a woman. African Americans are more than twice as likely to develop multiple myeloma than Caucasians. I am Caucasian. So I know that's all kind of like boring stuff, but it makes sense now that I've told you most of what I've gone through and how it's affected me. I've gotten better immensely since I've been treated. I stepped away from that old primary doctor because obviously in 2.5 years I wasn't getting any treatment for this. I wasn't being tested for this. It wasn't even on the radar, and kind of understandably so, but when I've been asking for stuff and have not been told all of my information from my test results or anything, when I went for the MRI for my hip, I called them 2 weeks later because they still had not called me with my results. I wasn't being told all of the information. When my kidneys were getting worse, I was not told in my blood work or in my urine tests anything about them, other than the fact that I had some glucose in my urine, some protein in my urine. So she automatically said that that is possible diabetes or that I have a UTI. And each time she would give me antibiotics for a UTI. My blood work, she didn't tell me that my creatinine level had increased or my BUN level had increased. She didn't tell me anything like that. So, I mean, it was really frustrating, and that my potassium was going down. There was only one instance where she told me my potassium was going down, and she gave me a prescription for potassium to take for 30 days, expecting that problem would just go away. But that's the only time she ever told me that. So I was really frustrated, really upset. And finally, when I went into the hospital the last time, it was like kind of a light bulb going, hey, it's time to change and get a second opinion kind of doctor, or get a different primary. So I got a different primary, and I'm so thankful that I did. That primary took all the information from just the lab work, not even any notes that the other one did or anything, because that had still not been sent over. But some of my lab work was in the computer system to be able to be tapped into by all of my health professionals anywhere I go. And so she had gotten those lab results, looked at it, had a couple of ideas, and then the way I presented in the office, she had a couple more ideas and what the information I told her. So she had specific ideas that she said it could be this, this, or this. And multiple myeloma was one of those possibilities of what I could be going through. And she did a couple more tests and sent me to an endocrinologist. The endocrinologist is the one that diagnosed me with Fanconi syndrome and started to treat that right away and get me hooked up with a renal specialist. Some of those tests were sent to a hematologist to look through, and the hematologist canceled the appointment that we were going to have and hooked me up with a multiple myeloma specialist. The multiple myeloma specialist saw me on November 6th, and that was when I was officially told that I have multiple myeloma. And from then on, it's been, this is the treatment plan that I think we should go with. We talked about it, went over the risks and everything that you normally do when you talk to a doctor about something big. And he just said so many things, and all I heard was the first minute of it, and then wah 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 after that. So I had somebody with me at that time so that she could kind of tell me and regurgitate to me what he said, because I was out of my mind at that time. I could only handle a certain chunk at a time during that time. Now, I mean, I get all the information, I'm fine with it, but at that time, I was gone, my mind was just racing. The fact that I was told that I have cancer, and all I could think of was my kids, and I couldn't stop crying at that time. Not devastating crying, not boo-hoo, I'm going to lose my mind crying, but I would just sit there and listen and just cry. Tears would just come out of my eyes. I would just leak tears, craziness. And all I could think of were my children, my boys, making sure that they had what they need. Whenever you think of cancer, you think, oh, crap, I'm going to die right now. Now I'm going to die. Multiple myeloma has changed my life radically, and so much so that my entire trajectory, my entire life plans, the things that I was working for, whenever I was a nurse, I worked hard, and I was working for the time that I would be able to have a vacation, because I've never had a vacation before. Yeah, we've gone across the state to see my family and come back, but I've never been on a vacation. I've never gone anywhere, really. My senior trip was to go see Washington, D.C. Within 23 hours, I saw Washington, D.C. and came back. I've never been out of the country. I've never been west of Kansas City. I've only gone down to the Gulf of Mexico and right back, because I drove down there, got into the ocean for a couple of hours, and drove right back. So I guess it was a 24-hour trip. I drove up to Michigan and came right back because I wanted to say that I was there. But I've never really been anywhere. I've never been on a vacation. So that's one of the things that I worked really hard for, and I wanted my kids to enjoy a vacation, to actually have a vacation before they got into the humdrum life that comes on with adulthood. But that hasn't happened, and it looks like that won't happen, but that's okay, because they've got their adulthood to be able to look forward to be able to do that. That's neither here nor there. Like, I want my kids to just grow, and here I go getting emotional. That's what this stuff does to me. I'm just super emotional now. But anytime I think about my kids, I get emotional and want to make sure that they're okay, that they're healthy, they're safe, and I want to see them grow. I want to see them blossom and bloom into these awesome men that they will be. Because they're wonderful. They are some good kids. And, I don't know, boys. I have 4 boys, and they're amazing, and I love them. Especially my oldest. He's been the one that's taken on the brunt of helping me and caring for me. As my husband has he was beside himself. He didn't know what to do. During that time of questioning, not knowing this, he wanted to leave a couple of times. He wanted a divorce a couple of times. However, in November, when I was diagnosed, he was beside himself. Nobody knew. I knew something was wrong, and I knew it wasn't because of anything I did, but he didn't have any clue. And so, anyways, now that I got all that crazy, I hope that you have an awesome week, and I'll see you next week. We'll chat over our coffee. I think maybe we'll talk about the crochet stuff, because I've got a couple of plans that I want to do, and I want you to let me know what plans, what next. So I've been working on this chevron blanket for my mom, and it is all single crochet all throughout, and she picked the colors. That's her colors. Her colors are like burgundy and forest green. Like, that's the colors. And I added in this really light gray, almost silver color, just to lighten it up. So it just looks like a really deep, dark Christmas color kind of blanket, which is great, but I wanted a little bit of bright to it. So it's all chevron, and I think it's going to be great. And then there's one blanket that I have to do next that I have the colors, and I'll show you the colors next week. But I want to know what I should do as far as blanket patterns. So send me in the comments below. Send me the different blanket patterns that you've got, so that I can do that. And then also, you can always find me at Twitter or at Instagram if you wanted to follow me there. Rose Candee, RoseCandee. Also comment, like, subscribe. Help me out here. I don't know what to say, but I hope you have an awesome week, and I'll see you next week here on Coffee with Candee. Bye.